One royal teacup could tilt the throne's center of gravity. Will you realize it before the headlines do? If Britain's trust in the crown falls just 5 more points, Republican bills will flood Westminster. Can one Duchess reverse the slide? Buckingham aides still replay the 5th of February 2025, the day King Charles III's cancer diagnosis drained half the court circular. Each vacant line felt like a siren. Who would fill it? The silence barely settled before Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, volunteered for 4 stranded engagements and quietly asked for any others that need hands. How many people noticed the rescue? According to palace insiders, the king slipped her a note that evening: "Your country counts." No signature, no flourish, pure gratitude. Did that sentence crown a new powerhouse? Chandeliers hummed with uneasy approval. 3 weeks later Sophie and Prince Edward sailed into the rain-lashed Inner Hebrides, greeting fishermen who weigh hope in lobster pots. They recited diesel prices, school ferry times and island export graphs. Tourism officers blinked, wondering if a royal or a minister stood before them. When a crofter's broadband faltered, she opened the parish laptop, ran a latency test, and promised fiber within a year. TikTok clipped the moment and broke 1 million views overnight. Could island Wi-Fi forge a Duchess's legend? Momentum crackled like Atlantic spray. Like this unvarnished access. Tap subscribe. Your click keeps our torches bright in palace corridors. Buckingham has now confirmed Monday's solo triumph test. At 3 p.m. Sophie will host an honoring women of distinction tea in Windsor's Castle Hotel, directly opposite the ancient stronghold where William the Conqueror once audited loyalty. 50 guests, an AI prodigy, a flood defense engineer, a Grammy-winning conductor, will await a Duchess who steps in alone, no prince at her flank. 2 sentences per paragraph. Palace scripts hint Sophie will quote the late Queen's 1947 promise of lifelong service, then pivot to wage gap sting statistics. Does an unscripted zinger risk rattling the equal pay bill stalled in committee since Easter? A hush precedes every gamble. Data point 1. Almost equals 400 words. Kantar shows Sophie's recognition up from 31% to 58% in 12 months. The fastest rise for any Windsor since Catherine's 2011 debut. Treasury analysts calculate each fully delegated engagement saves £14,200 in travel security. Austerity applauds wherever numbers purr. Even budgets now curtsy to soft power. Behind the gilt, her resume runs dense. A Kiev mission in 2023 delivered 43 tons of hospital kits, and the first Royal Solidarity speech in a war zone since Elizabeth II visited Belfast in 1961. She drove through sirens and still asked schoolgirls about textbooks. Courage grows clout. Royal historian Dr. Sarah Beckett calls the venture the modern Princess Royal moment, equating it with Anne's 1970 Ethiopian famine sprint. Has the baton already changed hands? Adrenaline seeps through palace stone. Sophie's work rhythm rivals a city CEO. She logged 458 engagements in 2024, only Princess, and outpaced her by a margin of 9. Court insiders dub her the secret weapon, though she reportedly rolls her eyes at the nickname. Why resist a title when it opens doors? Because the aim is impact, not headlines. Like again, if royal hustle trumps regalia, the algorithm decides who stays visible. Data point 2. Almost equals 800 words. PwC estimates Sophie's Ukrainian and Ireland tours generated £36 million in global media value, matching a mid-level FCDO trade mission for 1/5 the cost. Ipsos polls put her favorability at plus 33, 10 points above the Duke of Sussex, and triple that of any cabinet minister. Numbers, it seems, write invitations. Each line item adds weight to her briefcase. Monday's guest list hides a twist. Dr. Hira Khan, age 19, turned landfill phones into flood sensors that saved 600 homes in Cumbria. Expect Sophie to announce a microgrant on the spot, echoing the Queen's trust checks of the 1980s. Tradition repackaged in quantum code, who saw that blend coming? Innovation meets tapestry. Across town, Windsor Castle staff suspend the Owly Bell for 40 minutes to preserve audio for world feeds. A veteran photographer begs for an extra step stool, textbooks already queued for the handshake shot. If monarchy thrives on imagery, this frame may anchor a chapter. Flashbulbs chase quiet revolutions. Data point 3. Almost equals 200 words. National Centre for Social Research records a 7-point bump in approval of Royals championing STEM since Sophie's Edinburgh Robotics Summit keynote. Visit Britain's latest survey ties her appearances to a 3% rise in female tech tour delegates. Hard hats, not tiaras, move revenue lines. Tourism boards update their slide decks. But intrigue stirs beyond teacups. William allegedly rings Sophie after each solo gig to trade notes on speech pacing. Catherine, recovering from surgery, calls her our stealth sister. Are the three quietly scripting a 2030 monarchy that looks more agile startup than Grand Opera? All strategy meetings happen after curfew. One-line emotional punch. Excel cells may soon weigh more than ermine. Balancing private life adds tension. Lady Louise thrives at St. Andrews, Viscount 7 Aces A-levels. Sophie color-codes diaries, blue for Windsor, green for Gatcom weekends, red for mum only. How long before colors blur under national demand? Juggling grenades in velvet gloves. The Castle Hotel menu swaps royal lilies for resilient peonies, a nod to female strength without heraldic pomp. Even cake choices whisper brand reform. Is humility now a crown? Small details shout new priorities. Data point 4. Almost equals 600 words. Oxford Economics predicts, shifting 20% of low-impact visits to unpaid Flexibench, Royals could cut total public outlay by £12 million. Critics answer, fewer balcony faces might shave 5% from heritage tourism. Treasury labels the gap manageable with narrative adjustment. The battle between optics and ledgers intensifies. Numbers duel beneath chandeliers. According to Palace insiders, Charles plans to award Sophie the Royal Victorian chain this autumn, last bestowed on Prince Philip. Announcement may coincide with a Pacific climate resilience tour. Will cyclone zones replace red carpet banquets? Invitations rustle like storm leaves. A brief breath of drama. One syllable off script in Vanuatu could forge or fracture climate diplomacy. Castle Hotel staff hide comms boosters behind drapes. Social media studios prime hashtags #women of distinction and #Duchess Sophie. The first clip to clear 100,000 views wins the evening slot. Attention is currency. Every phone in the room is a news bureau. Data point 5. Almost equals 2,000 words. Brand index lists. Duchess Sophie, trust at +36, beating Nike, Apple and the Bank of England this quarter. Crisis management firms cite her improved during a cafe fire alarm in Galway. She guided 70 evacuees before staff regrouped. Security chiefs now rehearse Duchess drills. Reliability becomes its own regalia. Yet pitfalls lurk. A single luxury jet photo can torch months of thrift messaging. A stray opinion may spark constitutional chatter. Buckingham's media team runs red team simulations 3 nights per week. One scenario labels Monday, Operation Porcelain. Can they preempt every crack? Glassware trembles at rehearsal sound checks. One-line emotional punch. The monarchy's margin for error is thinner than Sophie's bone china cup. Final data burst before curtain. Royal travel costs rose 5.2% last year as cancer shuffled itineraries. Sophie's one-car method cut her slice by 11%. Fleet managers cite the Duchess's coffer-powered endurance as a model. How sustainable is superhuman? Even stamina has a ledger line. And so to Monday. At 14:57 the Guildhall clock will pause mid-chime, doors will open, and a Duchess, who once ran a small PR office, will face 50 heavyweights and a dozen hidden cameras. She will have 7 minutes to fuse tradition with disruption before teacups clink. One breath may write a chapter. Like and subscribe, because our recap drops while chandeliers still glisten and may contain the next royal job description. Will Sophie's speech crown her the court's indispensable fixer, or expose cracks in the new workload model? Next episode we dissect every unscripted glance, chart the poll lines, and reveal which frontier mission the king hands his stealth sister. Stay tuned, the monarchy's reboot is writing itself in real time.